to meet a young Nepali doctor who climbs death-defying mountains while saving countless lives in one of the highest clinics in the world as we explore Khumbu, the adventure seeker's ultimate dream. Some places are so surreal, they almost appear dreamlike. But what does it mean to dream? And more importantly, what does it mean to live your dreams? We are about to take you on a journey that dreams are made of. But if you want to live out your dreams, you have to face your fears and adversities too. There is no other way around it. This time around, as we always do, we look to push our limits in every way possible as we explore the immaculate beauty of one of the most extreme regions on the planet. Travel with us to the most dangerous lake in the Himalayas that is growing at an alarming rate and threatens the lives of those who live downstream. And fly into the most dangerous airport in the world. We will meet the amazing souls of Khumbu, whose memories will forever remain with us.
Nice to meet you, Aisha. Smriti.
And go on epic adventures with the locals. Prepare to get blown away by the level of beauty only the most extreme terrains in the world can give you. As we traverse through the SAGARMATHA National Park's flora and fauna and its gorgeous peaks and valleys. How about spending a couple of nights at the Guinness World Records certified highest located hotel in the world? Maybe play a game of pool at what is most likely the highest Irish pub in the world. And also stay where presidents stay at.
Jimmy Carter slept here in 1985.
Get ready for a 15-day adventure bonanza as we venture to the most stunning alpine lakes that the Everest region has to offer. And pass through some of the highest settlements anywhere in the world. This is Khumbu, an adventurer's ultimate dream. This is Traverart. Welcome to the middle of nowhere in Khumbu. We are walking amongst some of the tallest mountains in the world, including the tallest, Chomolungma, Sagarmatha, Mount Everest, whatever you want to call it. We are in the Sagarmatha National Park, walking amongst its superlative and exceptional natural beauty, embedded in the dramatic mountains, glaciers, deep valleys, and majestic peaks that the region is scattered with. we are surrounded by massive mountains in every direction we can manage to look towards, and around here you see more helicopters fly over your head than you come across people.
यतातिर है ठिक छ
3-4 घण्टा बिस्तारै
यसले सामान के बोकिरहेछ
पानी
ए
So let me give you a better idea of where exactly we are right now and where we are headed. We just left the village of DINGBOCHE right at the foot of the mighty Ama Dablam, the so-called Matterhorn of the Himalayas. And we are crossing this ridge towards the village of Jongla along the IMJA peak and the TSHO, a gorgeous lake with the most surreal of views. While walking hours on the end at such altitudes, it is views like these that give you the energy to push further. The wall of IMJA is so surreal, one cannot imagine something like this existing until one actually comes across it. Tomorrow, our plan is to cross the summit pass of Chola at 5,430 meters, then cross the longest glacier in the Himalayas, the ever-moving mass of rock and ice that is the Ngozumpa Glacier, and into the gorgeous Gokyo Valley filled with incredible lakes. To get to Jongla, one has to reach the village of LUKLA, which is where the path towards Everest Base Camp and the one towards Chola break off. Everest Base Camp is another 9 hours walk away from LUKLA. After getting lunch, we then made a sharp climb towards Jongla. We reached Jongla right around nightfall, and tomorrow we need to make an early morning crossing of the pass. The icy streams that you have to cross on the way to Jongla give you an idea of how cold it can get at such high altitudes. This was the coldest night of our entire trip.
त्यो लेक हैन छोलाचे कि छो पास यहाँ क्रस गर्यो अनि तल लोके पुग्यो यहाँ बेलुकासम्म मजाले हिँड्यो भने थिङ्क यो चाहिँ दिस इज द ग्लेसियर वी हेभ टु क्रस.
But almost 10 days ago, when we left Kathmandu, little did we know that we were going to get lost and not even come across the massive Ngozumpa Glacier that we were supposed to cross. A 30 to 35 minute flight from Kathmandu and you land on the Tenzing Hillary Airport, the most dangerous airport in the world. The area surrounding LUKLA can often get windy and cloudy very quickly. Flights to LUKLA often get cancelled due to bad weather, but on days with good weather during mountaineering season, the airport with a maximum parking capacity of 4 planes can get super busy. Tickets can be quite difficult to get during busy seasons, and even then flights are not guaranteed. Since the airstrip was built in 1964, the village of LUKLA too has grown into a bustling town high up in the hills of Khumbu, sitting at an altitude of 2,860 meters. With its short lane filled with houses, LUKLA has some great hotels, cafes and bars to spend time at. And just walking around is also a fun way to spend time here. Make sure to stop by the Irish pub for a beer and a game of pool. And for breakfast, we decided to drop by here for a delicious burger. But on the day we got here, we stopped for some thukpa to fill up for our walk and made our way towards the village of TOKTOK for the night. Beautiful wooden houses line the trail right from LUKLA until you reach Monjo, after which settlements start getting thinner. Unlike many other treks in Nepal, trekking in the Khumbu region starts with a continuous trail of settlements throughout your walk in the first couple of days until you enter the SAGARMATHA National Park. The trails are lined up with beautifully painted stones with prayers written on them in the Tibetan script, along with equally beautiful prayer wheels. On the first day, after starting their walk from LUKLA, most trekkers either spend the first night at the village of Phakding or in Monjo. We spent our first night somewhere in between the two at the village of TOKTOK. There are so many villages on the way that you don't even have to worry about where you're going to spend the night.
Chips. Nice to meet you, Aisha. What is Smriti?
People who live here work very hard to make a living.
Support भयो
म चाहिँ यस्तो नि अब महिनाको हिसाबमा चाहिँ यस्तै हुन्छ नि हो भारी त अब कहिले पाउँछ कहिले पाउँदैन त्यो भएर चाहिँ
हजुर
यताउता अब खाना पकाउने यसो अरू कुराहरू सामान चाहिएको बेलामा अब सामान ल्याउने अब मारिहाल्यो भने त के गर्ने अब हैन अब साथहरु मिलेन
The next day, after having breakfast in the village of Jorsalle, we entered the SAGARMATHA National Park entrance in Monjo. Including the highest point on the Earth's surface, Mount Everest, and an elevation range of 6,000 meters, the SAGARMATHA National Park lies in the Khumbu district of Nepal. And the combination of nature blending with the unique culture of its people truly make it an exceptional region to travel to.
Insuring गरेको हुन्छ हाम्रो मान्छेको बिमा गर्छ नि त्यसै बिमाको पनि बिमा गर्छ यिनीहरु 3 वर्ष पुगेपछि बारी पर्छ यसलाई खुवाइपी राम्रो चाहिन्छ कि
हजुर
त्यही कारणले खपिन्छ.
A couple of hours of walking after entering the park will take you to the tourist hub of NAMCHE. A bustling town at an elevation of 3,440 meters, NAMCHE is the gateway to the high Himalayas of the Khumbu. Entering NAMCHE is akin to walking into the tourist hub of Thomel in Kathmandu, although quieter, cleaner, colder, and at a much higher altitude. No other region in the Himalayas of Nepal offers the comforts and luxury to travelers at such high altitudes as does the Khumbu region. The main street of NAMCHE is quaint and pretty, with its clean lanes offering a wide variety of shops and restaurants lined throughout the steep hill on which NAMCHE BAZAR is built.
Feel better, trek better. Eat smart.
We stopped at a cafe called Eat Smart for lunch, where we had delicious sandwiches, Once you reach NAMCHE, it is advised that you stay a couple of nights here so that your body acclimatizes to the rigors of high altitudes that await you in your trek. Another option for acclimatization is to spend a couple of nights at Hotel Everest View, which is another hour-and-a-half walk away from NAMCHE near the gorgeous village of KHUMJUNG. On our way, as a clear day blended into an overcast night, we came across a herd of Himalayan thar just as it was getting dark. When Takashi Miyahara laid his eyes on the magnificent Everest range in 1968, he was determined to make his dream of building a world-class hotel here, and he, along with the Sherpas from the area, made that dream come true. Hotel Everest View is certified by the Guinness World Records as the highest altitude hotel in the world. Even today, building a hotel at 3,880 meters is no small task. To have built one in the 60s would have been extremely challenging. The hotel was designed by Japanese architect Yoshinobu Kumagaya, and it still receives praise for the simple yet elegant design that coexists beautifully with its pristine surroundings. The 12 rooms of Hotel Everest View are designed to get 360-degree views of the Himalayas and come with an elegant wood and stone interior. The continental and Nepali food that we were served were absolutely delicious. Breakfasts at Hotel Everest View with breathtaking views are very popular, and you can enjoy a cup of coffee along with its fabled panoramas of the Himalayas right in front of your eyes. And the hotel has its own helipad.
त्यो ठुलो देखिया चाहिँ फोर्ट छ
हजुर फोर्ट छ
भनेपछि हामी यहाँबाट जाँदाखेरि डिङबोचेतिर जाँदाखेरि यतै भएर जानु
यहाँबाट तल फुगी ठाँगा पुग्नुहुन्छ
ए
फुगी ठाँगाबाट
अनि उता नाम्चेतिर जानु परेन
नाम्चेतिर जानु पर्दैन यता खुम्जुङ हुँदै जानुहुन्छ सर
ए खुम्जुङ हुँदै
हजुर अहिले आज खुम्जुङ जानुहुन्छ नि
हजुर
त्यही बाटो तल दुधकोशी ताडेपछि हजुर
Less than an hour's walk from Hotel Everest View is the charming village of KHUMJUNG. KHUMJUNG lies at an elevation of 3,790 meters above sea level and lies on the foot of Mount Kumbila that towers over it.
So beautiful here, so beautiful. Amazing, yeah.
With rock walls dividing stony fields, KHUMJUNG has beautiful landscape views on all sides. Considered the Sherpa capital of the Khumbu region, KHUMJUNG is a fairly large town by mountain standards. We spent the second day of our acclimatization exploring KHUMJUNG, where we visited the school which was built by Sir Edmund Hillary's Himalayan Trust in 1961.
टिचिङ गर्न सुरु गरेको तेस्रो वर्ष हुँदैछ खासमा यहाँको सेकेन्डरीमा इंग्लिश र इकोनोमिक्स पढाउनु चाहिँ त्यस्तै हो सुरुमा त अब नयाँ मलाई पनि नयाँ नै भयो बिल्कुल फरक क्लाइमेट हैन वेदर देखि सबै कुरा अब यो यहाँको समुदाय बस्तीदेखि लिएर अब सुरुमा त नयाँ भयो अहिले त इन्जोय गरिरहेको छु के वास्तै छैन आनन्दसँग बस्ने हो
यहाँ त म्याक्स आदि त यहाँको लोकल हैन बाहिरबाट आउनुहुने जस्तो कोहीको पसल छ जस्तो बाहिरबाट आउनु भएकोहरु हुनुहुन्छ नि उहाँहरु जस्तै हो जस्तो पहिला हुँदाखेरि पनि म यहाँको रेजिडेन्ट हैन ड्याड टिचिङ गर्नुहुन्थ्यो त्यही भएर हाम्रो फ्यामिली नै आथ्यो कि अनि हो त्यस्तै हिसाबले पनि बस्दै थियो कि
We also visited a friend's house where we had a cup of tea.
Wow. And this is rice.
There is also a monastery at the edge of the village which has an alleged Yeti scalp inside.
स्कुल कता जान्छ अघि हामी गएर आएको थियौँ
Most of the houses that you see here are made using the abundant ores of rocks found here. The next day, we left KHUMJUNG late in the morning as we made our way towards DINGBOCHE, where we were to visit a mountain clinic there. Today, we planned to spend the night somewhere halfway in another beautiful village of PANGBOCHE.
नास्ता छोड्नु भयो अरे
On the way, we passed through another gorgeous village which also houses the biggest and one of the most significant monasteries in the Khumbu, in the village of DINGBOCHE. Tenzing Norgay spent his childhood in the nearby village of Thame and was sent to this very monastery to become a monk. We stopped here for lunch where we had some fried rice and a delicious apple pie. We also met an American anthropologist who was making his way down.
The last few 2 decades that I've been coming to NAMCHE, there's been little or no snow. But there used to be a lot more snow in my early days. My first time here was 78. And yeah, it was freaking cold and snowy. And I laugh at myself and my gear that I brought with us on this trip because my memories are set for when I was 20s and my 30s and it was so cold. But it's not going to be, minus 20. It just doesn't happen anymore.
And then we reached our destination for the night in PANGBOCHE as evening mist started covering the trail ahead of us. We stayed in Upper PANGBOCHE in a cute lodge called the Trekkers Inn, right next to one of the oldest monasteries in the Khumbu region. The PANGBOCHE monastery is also famous for being the home of another Yeti artifact, this time a fragmentary mummified hand that is said to have come from a Yeti. The village also serves as the gateway to Ama Dablam and is situated not far from the Ama Dablam Base Camp. We love having conversations with people during our travels, especially the elderly who have a lot of insights to share, and we loved talking to this adorable Ama.
पहिला सायद बच्चा धेरै गयो त्यति बेला हिउँ त्यो दिनमा त्यतिसम्म परेको अब हिँड्नै सक्दैन
अहिले चाहिँ
त्यति बच्चा
त्यतिको आमा सानो हुँदा त यहाँ स्कुल थिएन होला
उमेर पुगेछ भयो नाम्चे बजार छैन बजार छैन छैन थोपा छैन
Bye, Ama.
We left PANGBOCHE the next morning, walking through the quaint village in the morning daylight, and we then made our way towards DINGBOCHE in search of one of the highest located medical clinics in the world, run by the Mountain Medical Institute, along with a dynamic young Nepali doctor and his team. walk from PANGBOCHE to DINGBOCHE is comparatively a flat one as you walk through the ridges made by the Koshi River over 40 to 50 million years, which is how old the youngest mountain range in the world, the Himalaya, is. We walked through trails where we passed caravans of yak transporting loads as well as wild yaks grazing on the grassed slopes above us. We then crossed the Koshi River as we closed in on DINGBOCHE. The highest river in Nepal as it drains from the Mount Everest massif, Koshi flows at incredible speeds, forming charged rapids as it rushes downstream. And finally,
welcome to DINGBOCHE.
Another popular destination for climbers and trekkers heading towards Mount Everest or Ama Dablam or Island Peak, DINGBOCHE lies at the foot of the stunning Ama Dablam with its soaring ridges and steep faces that are visible for most part of one's trek in the Everest region. And we were here also to meet my very dear friend since childhood, Dr. Abhyu GHIMIRE. The clinic in DINGBOCHE at an altitude of 4,410 meters run by the Mountain Medicine Institute is one of the highest located in the world of its kind, where it serves the medical and emergency needs of those who live here and also those who travel here. It is being run by Dr. Abhyu GHIMIRE, who is highly revered and respected for the contribution he has made to this extremely remote region.
It's very impressive. I was saying to him how impressive it is that you as a doctor that you are willing to come up here and work for the betterment of the community and to, so many people would rather just stay in Kathmandu and make money or go abroad or whatever, but you're willing to serve your country. Come up here and help. That's amazing.
It's satisfying.
Yeah,
if people
I'm sure
would try it. Yeah, if other practitioners would try it.
Exactly.
They would
because the need is so tremendous.
Yeah.
But people have a comfortable life in Kathmandu, and it takes a special person to do this. So I applaud you.
Thank you. They choose comfort over satisfaction.
Yeah, they do, and most people do. But honestly, most people do in this life.
Yeah.
They want to be comfortable. They want to have money in their pocket, and they don't want to really stretch themselves, and they don't really want to try anything that puts them outside their comfort zone. But how many doctors would do this? You're very special. I want to tell you, I really respect that. If you were thinking we were talking about it.
Dr. Abhyu has served over 10,000 patients in the past 5 years in the Khumbu region.
5 years ma 10,000 जस्तो अब त्यो चाहिँ फेरि 10,000 भनेर त्यो चाहिँ डकुमेन्टेड पेशेन्ट्स अब कहिलेकाहीँ चाहिँ अनडकुमेन्टेड अथवा फलो अप पेशेन्टहरु चाहिँ त्यहाँ गन्या छैन हैन बिरामीहरु चाहिँ धेरै खालको हुन्छ अनि अब हामीसँग त धेरै देख्ने त अब रुगा खोकी नै हो अनि अब यहाँ चाहिँ फेरि धेरै जसो लड्ने फल इन्जुरीहरु हुन्छ अनि एनिमल अट्याकहरु पनि धेरै हुन्छ अस्ति भर्खर एकजनाको चाहिँ यहाँबाट गालाबाट छेडेर सिङले चाहिँ गालाबाट छेडेर यहाँको हड्डी फुटेर भित्र नाकमा छेडेर आँखाको फेदसम्म पुग्ने गरी injury पनि
He is also one of the youngest doctors in the world to be actively making findings in the field of mountain medicine along with other doctors from Europe and North America. His research has provided valuable and previously unknown insights into medical conditions that can only be found in such high altitudes.
Before you can breathe out and again breathe in.
While on duty here, he has to handle all sorts of cases that come here, ranging from cases of birthing, responding to COVID outbreaks in the region, and a range of surgeries, amongst others.
आफैले पाएको छोराभन्दा नि बढी माया छ मलाई उहाँ हाम्रो डाक्टर आउनु गएको चाहिँ हाम्रो चाहिँ भगवान् बसेको जतिकै हो कति दुःखले यहाँ हाम्रै लागि यस्तो दुर्गममा बस्नु भएको छ हाम्रै लाग्यो डरमै भयो नभए हामी कति काठमाडौँ दुःखले जानुपर्छ अरू जस्तो लोभ्यो भनेर कहाँ बस्छ र यस्तोमा पैसाको मतलबै नगरेर पो म मात्र हैन यो सबै ठाउँको मान्छे एकदम कति रमाइरहेको छ, कति खुसी छ। अब पैसै भए पनि हेली चादर गर्दाखेरि अब वेदरको काम हो, मान्छे निकाल्न पनि जान सकिन्छ हैन। डक्टरको त यहाँ धेरै समस्या हो, धेरै राम्रो हो।
हो त्यो ज्यानले चाहिँ बस भने हो नि त, यसले आराम गर भने होइन, ज्यानले भनेको सुन्नु पर्यो होइन। भोलि भेटौँला नि, तर जो अनुहार त उज्यालो भएर चाहिँ अस्तिभन्दा धेरै भोलि ध्यान पुऱ्याउनु पर्यो, भोलि भेटौँला नि हुन्छ।
Dr. Abhyu is also a prolific artist and a very gifted musician. In the mornings, you will most likely find him practicing his guitar before patients start showing up at the clinic. While other people have thick gloves around their hands, he shreds the icy strings on his guitar as if it were child's play. He has also worked as expedition doctor on occasions, having climbed a number of peaks, including most recently Ama Dablam, one of the most technically challenging mountains to climb out there. If you follow the IMJA river up north from DINGBOCHE, in a few hours you reach TSHO, one of the most dangerous and potentially destructive lake in the Himalayas. TSHO is a 3 to 4 hour walk away from DINGBOCHE, and the walk through the grazing fields of the yak towards the village of Chukung, along with the gorgeous view of Ama Dablam with you at all times, is a great day hike from DINGBOCHE.
अलिक खोकी थियो अनि हाई पनि लागेको रहेछ, उदो पठाएर म जाति भयो। विशेष भएको छु, अब राम्रै त बात छ कि छैन, अब हामी मूर्खले थाहा हुँदैन। प्लास्टिक जस्तो सास गर्ने यताउता चाहिँ कम भयो नानी, मेरो औषधि दिनुभयो, विषय अलिक भयो, रेस गर्नु खै बहिनी, यताउता हिँडिहाल्नुपर्छ काम। यतातिर बसिरहँदा पनि खानाको 500 रुपियाँ छ, समस्या छ भने।
We stopped at the village of Chukung on our way for a lunch of potatoes.
यहाँदेखि अब चाहिँ एकदम चलिबस्छ क्या हजुर जग्गा, यो आषाढ साउनमा चाहिँ पुरा हड्लिबस्छ।
We then continued our way towards IMJA as huge chunks of ice and snow blocks in the nearby glacier started becoming more prominent. As you close in on the lake, you have to cross iced rivers, making your way through huge boulders and blocks of ice. In the 1950s, small pools of water began collecting at the foot of the IMJA glacier. Since then, the pools have turned into a lake made up of melting glacial water and has become one of the fastest growing bodies of water in the Himalayas, as temperatures here have risen rapidly in the past few decades. By 2009, it had grown to over 2 km long and 650 meters wide with depths of up to 136 feet. IMJA is a continuous threat to communities that live downstream, which could be easily wiped out if the lake bursts, causing what is referred to as a glacial lake outburst flood. A dam was built here recently by the Nepal military using a bulldozer that was assembled nearby after being brought in parts by military helicopters. Ice sheets across the Himalayas have shrunk 10 times faster in the past 4 decades than during the past 7 centuries. On our way back, we stopped by another place in Chukung for some delicious food, and then we started making our 2-hour walk back to DINGBOCHE right after nightfall. We spent 3 nights in Dingboche, which is also another popular and recommended destination to acclimatize before making your way to even higher altitudes. Every morning we would wake up to find all sorts of water sources completely frozen, and we made sure to have lots of fun with all the frozen water.
आमा दबलमको त्यो दुईटा चाहिँ एउटा सनराइज हुन्छ अनि फेरि छेक्छ अनि फेरि सनराइज हुन्छ कि डबल सनराइज हुन्छ
ए त्यो दुईटाको बिचबाट हुन्छ
विन्टरमा चाहिँ
For coffee, we would head to the Himalayan cafe nearby, which has some really cool mountaineering as well as other artifacts which are fun to browse through. And the view from the outside while you eat your breakfast is unlike no other, as the gorgeous Ama Dablam towers over you. While spending your days acclimatizing, climbing up the hill opposite from Ama Dablam gives you magnificent views of the entire village from above. And watching the yaks graze in the nearby ridge is a very calming activity to partake in. Since you cannot take your eyes off of Ama Dablam, here's another fact about this gorgeous mountain. This steep pyramid of ice with vertical walls and sharp exposed ridges offering high technical climbing difficulties was first climbed in 1961. And at 6,812 meters is one of the most popular mountains in the Himalayas amongst explorers and mountaineers. And now, from Dingboche back to Chola from earlier. A summit pass at 5,420 meters that is made up of a massive chunk of ice. The morning we left Zongla, we ate breakfast and were on our way towards the highest point of our entire trek. When crossing a pass, one has to leave as early in the morning as possible so that the sun rays don't start melting certain parts of the ice, which could render the crossing more dangerous.
ए खोइ के हो ए
मा हो हजुर
हजुर
मा एकजना मात्रै हो हजुर के
ए 8 जना
ए 8 जना हो
8 जना
The first 2 hours after leaving Zongla, we made a steady climb, after which a steep, rocky slope leads you in front of the massive glacier that you are now about to cross and are staring eye to eye with. As you stare towards Chola, La meaning pass in the local language, all you see is ice and rock. Although we crossed the pass without crampons or micro spikes, it is definitely recommended that you do use a pair, especially while crossing the glacier. Crude sun rays that reflect off the white sheet of snow and ice at such altitudes can be harsh and extremely bright. But no matter how extreme the environment or how high the altitude, Smriti always finds things to amuse and entertain herself. finally made it to the final part of the climb and soaked in the view from the top for a while. And although you might think crossing the pass itself is the most difficult part, the steep descent towards Thagnak village is equally challenging and hazardous. Make sure to carry plenty of high energy food on your treks, especially on days like this where you have to walk a lot at high altitudes, which can be extremely tiring. We finally reached the village of Thagnak after the descent, and another couple of hours following the trail downstream towards the Nozumpa Glacier, we decided to rest here for the night.
यताबाट गोके कति जति लाग्छ?
त्यही 2 घण्टा आधा 3 घण्टा
पुग्छ। त्यो भने त्यही गर्नु पर्ला।
भोलि यहाँबाट मज्जाले आज रेस्ट गर्ने भोलि 10 बजेतिर आउनु मज्जाले।
The next morning, we left Thagnak to cross the largest glacier in the Himalayas, only to get lost and reach a random village where there was nobody except one gentleman who was kind enough to get out of his way to show us the path towards Gokyo. Walking the trails through such terrains can be quite confusing at times, and carrying a physical map or a mobile app can come in very handy. We ended up walking around the glacier and catching the trail that connects NAMCHE to Gokyo, which meant we joined the trail right at the edge of the glacier. And then we came across the first and second lakes of Gokyo on our way to the third lake, which is also the largest and the only one with a settlement next to it. There are multiple Gokyo lakes scattered in the region, making up the Gokyo Lake system, the highest freshwater lake system in the world. All the lakes lie above 4,700 meters and are oligotrophic lakes, which means they have very low algal production and therefore have crystal clear waters. Ruddy shell duck, also known as the Brahmini duck, can often be seen here swimming on these lakes in pairs as they usually do. We then made it to the settlement in Gokyo in early afternoon. Gokyo is located on the eastern shore of the third Gokyo Lake. At an elevation of 4,750 meters, it is one of the highest settlements not just in Nepal, but in the whole world. Considered sacred by both Hindus and Buddhists, pilgrims come here to take a holy bath in the lake during the Janai Purnima festival around the month of August every year. We stayed at the Eco Lodge by Khumbu homes right next to the lake. The lodges run by Khumbu homes in the Gokyo Lakes offer rooms with spectacular views and also provide great service and delicious food despite the extremely remote location in which it is located. The warm dining rooms that serve delightful cuisines give you the chance to socialize with trekkers that have come here from every corner of the world imaginable. Our host Tenzing, who runs the Khumbu homes along with his brother, was a great host to us and very warm and friendly, and we had an amazing time while we were here.
You can't do much. You can just go in the night.
I made it to the bottom!
The next day, the weather was cloudy and windy, so we did not climb up the Gokyo Lake. Instead, we went for a little hike over to the other side of the lake. The place is so surreal, it is almost like being in a dream. Gokyo is a destination that is as beautiful as they come. The freezing cold definitely did not stop us from enjoying the views, and the colors one can see from here are just phenomenal as the wind gently forms ripples over the water's surface. Although we were traveling, which is what we love to do and which is why we do it, we were also working, exploring places and capturing them through our cameras. We try not to let anything stop us from doing what we love to do and getting our work done. After all, living your dreams is as much about facing and dealing with your hardships and discomfort as it is about enjoying the fruits of your labor. Of all the places I've been to in Nepal, Gokyo was and still is my favorite place, which is why I had been dying to return here after having come here first in 2018. After 2 nights in Gokyo, we were then again back on the trails as we made our way back to NAMCHE through a different way than the one we came through. We planned to spend a night in NAMCHE, where we also wanted to explore the night scene and maybe go bar hopping.
We actually went, you know where all the hotels are?
Yes.
I guess you know more.
Yeah.
So we went to like the opposite side.
Oh, around.
Yeah, it's an easy walk and it's the view is
Oh, I like
beautiful.
the easy rock because I'm looking at the Gokyo Lake and I'm thinking, Parlena.
Have you been up there before?
I have, but I was 30 years old.
Ah.
I'm
This is your-
65.
Wow. This is your third time, you said?
Third time, yeah.
We planned to stop at the beautiful village of Dole for the night, but we still had so much more to see as we stepped on the trails that we hadn't walked through earlier.
I went down the road by my apple tree.
And on the way, we came across a number of villages, each of which were stunning in their own right, and one would not be wrong to spend the night in any one of them. We had lunch in the afternoon and then stopped by the village of NAMCHE for a cup of tea in the evening.
के हो तिम्रो नाम?
मेरो नाम जसिलिन्जो हो सर।
मेरो नाम बप्पा।
जसि हो सर।
We still had another 2.5 hours of walking to do before reaching Dole, but we probably took longer than that as we enjoyed the gorgeous views all around us. And although we had already descended over 500 meters in altitude that day, the mountains were still everywhere around us, and the fall colors were starting to show up as we entered a more flora-covered region. Just before nightfall, we came across the beautiful village of Dole. The next morning, as we made our way back towards NAMCHE BAZAR, we came across spectacular views of another popular village in the region, Photse village sitting below Ama Dablam. And as soon as we entered KHUMJUNG, we were invited at a house for some tea.
अनि हामी भयो पछि आउँथ्यौँ हामी गोक्यो गएर भनेर अनि हामी त दिङबोचे चोलापास गोक्यो गएर आएको
दिन पनि राम्रो भयो
राम्रो भयो आमाको नाम चाहिँ के हो
छुटी
छुटी आमा कति वर्षको हुनुभयो
औ म त 80 गएर पनि यति वर्ष जान्छ म त आउ त बुढी राम्रो हुने छैन
Visiting local households and getting to know the lives of the locals is an essential part of travel that are as knowledge imparting as books we read, and the warmth with which you are welcomed remain forever with you even once you have left.
नमस्ते बाई बाई
बाई बाई भोलि पर्सि फेरि आउनु
निमा दिदीले हामीले आएर
भन्नु न हजुर हजुर
नमस्ते बाई बाई
Contrary to the sunny KHUMJUNG we had seen earlier, this time around it was completely covered with fog with very little visibility. We finally made it to NAMCHE late in the evening, where we stayed at Khumbu Lodge. And incredibly enough, in the same room that former US President Jimmy Carter had stayed in back in 1985.
यही रुम त हैन होला
हो यहाँ सुन्नु त्यहाँ माथि लेखेको छ हेर्नु ल उहाँहरूलाई जिमी कार्टर सुधा तपाईँले नपट्यायो होला है ऊ यहाँ हेर्नु जिमी कार्टर slept here in 1985.
We then played a game of cards, had our first round of dinner, and then went bar hopping in NAMCHE. We also spent some time at what is probably the highest located Irish pub in the world. got ourselves a beer, and Smriti beat me in a game of pool. And then we followed it up with a delightful half and half pizza at the Sherpa barista for our second round of dinner. We recommend coming here for some great pizza when you're around in NAMCHE. And that is as far as our epic Khumbu adventure goes. If it is your first time here, subscribe to our channel for a heavy dose of fun and adventure. This is Traverart.
I got the message on me, ain't no flexing on me. My attorney gon' call and collect. Blessings on blessings for me. My successes only made them envious, they got upset. I had to put all their egos in check. I want the money, the power, respect. And I heard you know so-and-so, you not a threat. Cause I really know so-and-so, they like my family. So they go pretend that they cool till they bust at your motherfucking chest. I'm getting gutter, my flow been like butter. My check in the bank, they see the number. All of my haters feel one of two ways. Really upset or they show some respect. I can't even think about it. I've been up, so read about it. No beat around it, straight to it, no ring around it. You coming for me, we'll see about it. We'll never see it when I get my feet up. 100 meters where I run the fee up. And go catching and I'm on a pier. I had to re-up on a